Well, it started with boxes, but it really ends up being Treenware. Treenware, Treen, and that's woodenware that has some utilitarian use or kitchen use. And most of these boxes, which I started collecting because I love the shape of them, most of the boxes had items in them. They either came with powders or herbs or gunpowder or gold leaf. One of these actually has the gold still in it. Or they came as sewing boxes. Some of them have pencils. A lot of it had women's items in it, hairpins and things like that. 10 years ago, we moved from a large house to a smaller ranch house. And I had several collections. And last year, so it would have been 9 years, I had a collection of bells. I had about 100 of those. And then this year, I said, well, let's do the Treenware in the little boxes. I hunted all day yesterday, and it was only late last night that I found this box tucked behind things in the attic. So I've had a wonderful time today because I've opened up cardboard boxes and pulled out these little treasures and just rediscovered them again this morning. So it's been a joyous trip for me.
And so are some of these collected by your parents and your husband's parents?
No, these are all mine.
Where'd you find this?
Well, antique stores and
Really? I never saw it.
well, somebody said when they did an appraisal of our house at one time, and he said, well, there's no more Treenware boxes out here. You own them all. So I did, that was a joke. But I did buy a lot of them. And some of the more interesting things, for example, this is one that I found last night. I started researching, which I've never done before, but there are labels on a lot of these things. And this one is a maculatum, and it's a poison that was powdered. I don't know what they used it for, but it will kill animals and it will kill people. And I had to look the label up. There's nothing in it, fortunately, or maybe unfortunately. But I looked the label up, and it's so wonderful when you go on the web today, you can find anything. And I looked up New Lebanon, New York, and it turns out, because I recognize New Lebanon as being a Shaker community, this was made along with rose water and rose hips and a lot of herbs. This was made by the Shakers in New Lebanon, New York. And this little label here is for sale, advertising rose water for $75. So I think to have intact the label in a screw top wooden container, original container, and they have it a poison, which is always interesting. I think this turns out to be probably a special little piece. These are probably the most special items on the table. These were made, some leather, but mostly wood, all hand carved, but they're snuff boxes that were made mostly by sailors who had all the time in the world. So you've got bone on the top.
So they carved them.
They carved them, yep. And you know, they're famous for doing miniature work, like the scrimshaw that they do. Well, this is another one of the items. And look at the fingers on that. It's just beautifully done.
The fingers are like the joints?
The joints, yes. So it isn't just a joint together. It's fingers that is made decoratively, like the Shaker boxes. These fingers are decorative. These are all finished works of art, turned on a lathe with a lot of time put into them. And some hand-carved. There's a hand-carved one that holds shot for a gun, for example. So not only were they commercial, but I also have some that were done by hand by people for themselves.